Sammy, where are you located?
I'm Toronto, right by the CN Tower. So,
Toronto?
hmm
No good. I don't like your hockey team. They beat us last night.
oh yeah. There's some beef there. Yeah. Are you
Yeah.
worried about the? This is a quick tangent, but are you worried about the Panthers, or are you feeling still confident?
Oh, if I worry, it'd be silly because I was worried last year and I shouldn't have been because they won the Stanley Cup.
Okay, so your resolve is strong.
Yeah, I was there in Toronto at the CN Tower in 2009 with my family, and I was there to do a short film I was in. It was very nice. It really was.
That's cool. All right, we'll leave the hockey tension aside and embrace the video game of life. Yo, welcome to my Summer Lair. I'm your host, Sammy. I couldn't even get a high score if I played video games in an airplane, cruising at 20,000 feet Younan. Back in 2007, a video game documentary injected us into this wild world where diehard gamers competed to break world records on classic arcade games like Pac-Man and Donkey Kong. The King of Kong, A Fistful of Quarters, such a cool title, was directed by Seth Gordon. In that documentary, viewers meet Walter Day, introduced as the world's video game referee, a referee who oversaw the contest with the reigning champion, Billy Mitchell. Walter and Billy are back in another strange documentary, Arcades and Love Songs, The Ballad of Walter Day, directed by Ed Cunningham. Arcades and Love Songs is a documentary follow-up to The King of Kong, specifically that scene where Walter Day reveals that he has these songs based on this heartbreak from the mid-'80s. That heartbreak prompted these big rock love songs in his head. And as you can tell from the title, Arcades and Love Songs, The Ballad of Walter Day, this is Walter's attempt to begin writing, to begin recording, and to begin singing those big rock love songs, to get them out of his head and into our world. Walter is also 74 years old, and unlike video games where you have multiple lives, the time is now to share the music. And also his passion for Taylor Swift. You'll see that come up quite a bit in the documentary. Arcade and Love Songs isn't a joystick nostalgia trip. It's centered around the heartfelt friendship Billy and Walter have. It's based on those years of playing video games. It's got to be a surreal experience to end up in a documentary. Like, especially as a civilian, you know what I mean? Like, I asked both of them about that. Two documentaries, when you think about it, King of Kong and now Arcades and Love Songs. That's so strange. Which, I guess, is a poetic meditation on legacy. Fans of King of Kong have been asking Walter about his music. They didn't just see him as a video game referee. Rather, they were inviting him and providing him with the opportunity to display his talents. We've covered friendship, competition, and legacy music. It's all happening in Arcades and Love Songs. One thing I was curious about, how do Billy and Walter maintain their confidence? Their passionate beliefs in their own unique, distinct talents. They each offer unique approaches to that struggle. If you're a creative individual, you'll benefit from their distinct responses. Did I just use the words distinct and unique a lot? I think I did. So, clearly I need to listen to them better. Beyond old school arcade games, the fame, the friendship, this is what it truly means to level up in life. And now I press start on the introduction with Stephanie. Hit it.
Sound, the final frontier. My Summer Lair is an enterprise, a pop culture voyage with a continuing mission to explore strange new worlds, to seek out new creators and celebrate established producers, to boldly go where no podcast has gone before. And now here is your host, Sammy Younan.
Since there are two of you, I want the audiences to hear your voice. So can you both introduce yourself and then share the secret ingredient to what makes an arcade game fun? It could be the sounds, it could be the difficulty and skill level, whatever you think is the secret ingredient to make an arcade game fun.
Okay, I'll go first. So an arcade game that's fun usually has layers to it, has levels to it. First of all, it has to be an attractive experience. It has to be visually attractive, and it has to have some nice sounds. They really learned early that investing in nice sounds and music and stuff like that could make a game a winner. That's especially was was realized that they began to have home consoles like Nintendo systems and Sega systems and stuff like that. They'd invest a lot of money to have music and soundtrack and voices that were original but melodic and lyrical to make the thing an enjoyable experience for the impressionable young minds that generally are playing it. But it really comes down to gameplay. Gameplay. Most of the games that were the most successful games had many, many, many layers of difficulty to them. In fact, so many layers, the games from a long time ago were so intelligently produced and intelligently designed that even now, 40 years later, people are still getting newer, higher scores because they're learning more and more and more about the intelligent dynamics of the gameplay. So there's a lot of layers to what makes a game, not only its aesthetics, but also its in-depth gameplay, its rules, and the way it just progresses.
That's cool.
Okay,
All right, so that's Walter. And you, sir?
I would say what makes a great game is the drama that the game produces, the interaction it produces amongst players, and nothing makes a great game like the smell of victory.
Yeah. All right, that works. So that's Billy. So both of you were in King of Kong. Watching your life play out on a screen in a documentary like King of Kong, what parts of it felt more real and what parts of it felt surreal? It's got to be a strange experience to have your life end up in a documentary.
Well, the thing is, I'd have to say that, to be frank with you, more of it was surreal than it was real. I mean, some of my personality traits were clearly brought out in the movie, but other things would be dramatized. And the movie King of Kong was a very much a dramatization of things that really happened. And a lot of it was stitched together in such a way that it didn't quite resemble what really happened in the world of King of Kong back in 2005. But it was an interesting experience because it became an art form as opposed to an actual documentary. And that's why it became so entertaining and has a life of its own now.
Do you agree with that, Billy?
Well, I don't like to agree with the things that Walter says, but yes, I do agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact is, I tell people, I say, historically, it's true. The drama, the events, and how they're presented. Well, there's obviously Hollywood involved there. And for example, I mean, you're a reasonably intelligent guy.
Thank you.
You know, you're reasonably successful. You've been around the block.
Mm-hmm.
Do you really think that I sit at home and go, hello, world record headquarters?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously there's a little fun involved there.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, the fun is what makes the movie memorable. It creates emotion. It makes it thought provoking. It makes people absolutely fall in love with you, or it makes people absolutely hate you. And either way, it puts video games, it puts you and events, it puts you on the map. So I think I always say that 99% of the people see a film like that and they have a normal reaction. They enjoy it or they're bored. They love it or they hate it. It's exciting or not. But on the fringe is where you really have the fun. I mean, really have the fun. When I say have the fun, where you get hate mail, death threats, fanfare, marriage proposals.
Oh,
Those are way on the end.
yeah.
Almost everybody in the middle simply enjoys the film like you do.
I've never received a marriage proposal.
Did you get any of the death threats too, or the other fringe fun that Billy was just describing?
I didn't get any death threats either.
Oh man, you're missing out. So, but
Well, he
Billy,
got hate mail.
okay, hate mail counts then. But Billy, what you're talking about is like how the audience, or like you said, the fringe sees you in King of Kong. But did having your story told on film like that in a documentary like King of Kong, did it change the way you see yourself?
Well, I'm the kind of person I can look at every event that I participate in, and I truly can. And I can see ways that I can improve. I do. You know, I also see ways that I excel. So do films that I'm in and experiences I have cause self-reflection? They absolutely do. Usually, and there's people that argue with this, but usually it's for the better. I think I'm usually passionate about the things that I do. And the way that I know that I make mistakes and I'm flawed is, you know, my wife reminds me of it every day. So it's easy to look at it from all points of view. That doesn't mean that I go on the screen or I even come here to an interview and I share that with you. When I'm there to do something, when I'm there to perform, whether it's on a film or whether it's in a competition, I'm there to do 110%. I'm there to be number one. I'm there to give it my best effort, and everything is positive and push forward. Never a negative bit of energy.
Yeah, there's a scene towards the end of the follow-up for King of Kong, Arcades and Love Songs, where Walter says, I am very, very impressed. This is a direct quote. I'm very, very impressed with how much Billy's grown during the King of Kong era. He's become gentler, kinder, and more open to putting other people for him. So I guess that to you, that does sound accurate, because that's really what you're saying. That's what Walter is saying as well.
Well, I don't really know if that's true. I'd like to think that it's true. I'd like to think that I've become wiser. Somebody looking from the outside would normally have a better perspective. I could always take that statement and find ways to nitpick or argue it, but I can find a lot of ways to support it too. So I take a statement like that and I take it in a very honorable way, and I appreciate it. To take it any other way, if you're not taking constructive criticism, well, then you really haven't grown. So I think I appreciate the kind words.
So then Billy, how would you describe how Walter has kind of evolved as well then, since he reflected on you during the King of Kong era? Like, how would you describe Walter's evolution in the same way that he just described you?
Well, unfortunately, he's more mellow than he used to be. That's very unfortunate because he used to run at the intensity that I felt I had to run harder to stay ahead of him. And now he enjoys life more. And he looks at his successes more, and he looks at a relaxed future, singing, traveling, not being involved in the intensity and drama. Well, then I sit here and I laugh to myself and I say, well, I don't want to have to do that all by myself. So in that case, I push him and I prod him to go forward on some of the things we've discussed. But when I speak seriously, the reality is he has accepted his successes. And you think about it, he's 75 years old and he puts out his first album and he looks forward to the experiences that come beyond that and after that. To be 75 years old and still have those ambitions, you could say it's like childhood dreams. You simply don't give them up. If you give them up, if you let them go, then really, what do you have left? You don't really have anything left. You have your memories. You have no anticipations of the future. So it's very inspiring to see that he still has those.
You're talking about hope.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
He has ambitions that go beyond this movie. So maybe we'll be sitting here again in 2 or 3 or 5 years.
So for Walter, then what Billy is saying then, like, how do you keep your passions red hot? Like for music, for video games, for Taylor Swift, like how do you keep these passions alive? How do you keep stoking these fires?
Well, I talk about this quite regularly. Every day I sit down and I meditate. I do transcendental meditation. And most people don't understand what that means to practice transcendental meditation. In my town here, Fairfield, Iowa, there's 10,000 people here, and over 4,000 of them practice transcendental meditation. Because there's a big university here called Maharishi International University that actually teaches the experience of meditation along with traditional subjects like computer science and physiology and literature and stuff like that. And when you sit down and do transcendental meditation, you're sitting on a chair for 20 minutes in the morning, then 20 minutes later in the day. And it turns out that there's a source of pure energy and intelligence and creativity that lies at the basis of the mind that you can tap and draw on and start using. And it affects and by doing that, it starts affecting your clarity of your mind, your energy level, your youthfulness, your cardiovascular, your heart, your immune system, all sorts of things all together become strong. They become cleared up. They become like reset. It's like resetting yourself because it gives you a deeper point of sleep than the deepest point in night's sleep.
Does it open you up as well?
It opens you up so that they describe it as literally an expansion of consciousness, so that the creativity and the intelligence and the happiness and the energy level just blossom. At the same time, your physiology is regaining a normal health that like you would have had as a youth. So that clarifies things and rejuvenates things and just powers up things. And I do it on a daily basis.
Walter, like in video games like Pac-Man, you go up levels or you go through unique stages, right? And every level gets more and more difficult. As you've now, like, as Billy said, like, you're putting out an album now, you're recording music. Are you surprised your life has followed almost like a video game? You keep going up these different levels and different stages, and each one seems to get harder and harder.
Well, it's kind of funny. So meditating, it almost seems like things get easier and easier. Things just gently fall in my lap. That's the only way I can describe it. It's like there's a life support, just a support of the forces of nature. That's easier and easier and simpler and more readily available, less difficult, less obstacles. And so even though your point of going through levels is accurate, the degree of difficulty to me seems to be getting less. And it might be because I believe it's because I'm using more and more my faculties as a result of meditating, making it easier to handle things and adopt things and grasp things and understand things.
I want to ask you for both. You're both very confident men. So, like, is there a secret to confidence and believing in yourself? Both of you remind me of like a high school kid who's like telling everybody, one day I'm going to get to the NBA. One day I'm going to be like, put the high score into like Donkey Kong. Like one day, right? Like, is there a secret to confidence and believing yourself? I'll ask you, Billy.
Well, I always tell people that I have a level of stubbornness, and that level of stubbornness that I have within me and the amount that I allow it to push me, I simply don't. Let me explain it this way. I try to do things. I try to achieve things. I try to achieve things in a game, no different than you. And I fail and I fail and I fail and I fail. And because I'm willing to accept that failure and embrace that failure, then I succeed. If you don't embrace your failure, if you don't learn from it, then you'll never get your level of success. You know, I once had to play a game for a particular score. And I thought, man, how many times am I going to have to do this? How many times? And I'm hitting start, I'm hitting start, I'm hitting start. And I failed 94 times. And that's when I got the score. If I wasn't willing to fail 94 times, then I wouldn't have succeeded on the 95th time. Now, history only talks about the 95th time. They don't talk about the 94 times of failure. And of course, I don't even remember them except for this interview. And I believe that when you embrace the hardship that you have and the failure that comes out of it in an effort to succeed, that's when you gain satisfaction. That's when you realize that anything you're going to do is going to have failure that's going to lead to success. So that failure doesn't disappoint you. It's simply one step closer to success.
It's the ability to get back up quickly too. If you are doing basketball like Steph Curry or something like this, and you keep hitting shots and the first couple are like bricks off the backboard, off the front of the rim, whatever it may be, you don't just like stop, right? Like you keep going. It's the ability to get back up. That's also the other key.
Yeah, the difference I say between a winner and a loser is a winner simply got up one more time, even though it may have been comfortable to stay down.
Yeah. And Walter, for you, what's the secret of confidence? Is that related back to your meditation?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because I'm 75, and most people at the age of 75, they just run out of gas. They run out of spirit. They run out of motivation. They run out of health. They run out of energy. But all those things stay on a very, very high level because I sit down and I recharge everything and reset everything every day, 2 times a day. And that helps the whole system run smoothly, strongly, powerfully, and happily.
And so were you guys excited to then go back to being in a documentary again with arcades and love songs following your experiences with King of Kong?
I think we're going to enjoy this probably a lot more than the King of Kong. What do you think, Billy?
Well, I think that this story is very accurate, both the events and the emotion to Walter's life. I'm not saying there isn't drama added in and there's not the creativity of Hollywood. There always is. But this is closer to actual reality. You know, when someone says, you know, what part of the film is true? In King of Kong, I'll have a lot of things to say. When someone asks me what part of the film, Walter's film, Arcades and Love Songs, is true, actually, pretty much every bit of it's true.
Mhm.
It's actually.
Yeah, so as we're wrapping up, Billy, you had a scene early on in Arcades and Love Songs. You guys are both in London, and you say to Walter, I don't know how you can give all this up for music. Like, how has your relationship with video games evolved, right? Like, the way that you love your wife on your wedding day is completely different than, like, when you're with her, like, 20, 40 years later, right?
Well, it is for you, not for me.
Okay, fair enough. Smooth, yeah, that's
But
good, yeah.
but to go along that answer line, during these years, as Walter said, "Gee, I'm going to go do music. Gee, I'm going to go do music. Gee, I'm going to go do music." I used to say to people, "He's not going anywhere. He's not going to give up all that he built, all the friendships that he has to go do something new." So when you translate what you just asked me, he's not going to give it up. How could you give it up to run away and do music? He's not. As you see, he's doing his music, and he's doing it through the support of all the relationships and all the friendships and all the success he had in gaming.
Mm-hmm. Community again.
Absolutely. And like I say, you can come back and visit us in a year and in 5 or 10 years. Okay. And Walter will still have the gaming community because, number one, the community doesn't want to forget him, but he doesn't want to forget them. It's just, it's moving on to a new phase of life, but it's not abandoning or throwing away the old phase.
And Walter, for you, this documentary, Arcades and Love Songs, is all about your music and your songs. Are you still continuing to write more songs? Are you still recording? Are you going to go on tour? Where are you at with some of your music?
Well, there's probably going to be a small tour, but there's mainly going to be making appearances at places that show the movie. Still have a huge amount of work on my voice to do because I didn't start off as a singer, and I had a passable voice by the time I made my performance in the movie, but I still have a lot of work ahead of me. And in fact, I'm a little dismayed by how much work it takes to actually develop my voice. I didn't want to. At 76 years, I'm 76 in a few days. I Thank you. I didn't want to work this hard
Yeah.
to develop a voice, but apparently it takes a serious amount of work. But the songs, I'm still writing lyrics for songs even today.
And the songs that we saw in Arcades and Love Songs, a lot of them, obviously, because they're based on the title, they're love songs. They're based on that relationship you had and that heartbreak that you had from that relationship. Are
All
the
of them.
new songs still also in that same subject?
All the songs that I have, the last song I wrote was in 1996. So every song was actually from the era of the heartbreak.
All right. That's perfect. We can end it there. Thank you, gentlemen, for hanging out. Billy, we'll see how the Leafs and the Panthers do in the next couple of games.
Very much.
Yeah. We'll see who gets the high score in those games, right?
Thank you.
Very good.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Walter, as well.
Thank you, Sammy.
Thank you, Sammy.
Yo, that was Walter and Billy. You can see them in the musical documentary Arcades and Love Songs, The Ballad of Walter Day. And I am Sammy, host of My Summer Lair. If you want to listen to Walter's music, you can check it out wherever you listen to music. YouTube, Spotify, you name it. Here is a Costco sample of Walter's music. This song is called Love in a Changing World.
Love in a changing world, my heart's hurting, hurting, hurting. Love with a changing girl, my heart's hurting, hurting, hurting. I watch as love fades, you change by the day. Your grip on our love slips away with the times, and uncertainty possesses your eyes.
Nifty, yeah? If you're going to go to Spotify anyways to check out Walter's music, please give My Summer Lair a follow. The podcast has been flourishing over there recently in the past year or so. Shout out to my new Spotify followers and listeners. Thank you so much for boosting the podcast. And to you, the listener right now, thank you for listening to me in the Netflix world. Guess maybe I should have changed that to Spotify world. Video games and love songs, yo.